This is my first time posting in this board. I don't like to tell people about my life and the things I've experienced because I have anxiety, especially related to interacting with other people. I've only told this to a few people outside my family, and only recently started talking about it. I wish I'd told someone sooner, as I discovered a coworker encountered these men as well. I work downtown, standard 8 to 5 hours. Once in a while I work overtime, but not often, and not on this day. It was just a couple of minutes after 5 p.m. when I left work. It was just a few blocks from my office building to the train station. There are a few bars and back alleys along the way, but the worst I've ever dealt with along there are homeless folks who get a little aggressive asking for cash. They don't bother me much. The train ride from the station downtown to the station where I park my car is about 40 minutes. If I'm lucky, I manage to get a seat and don't have to stand for the whole ride. On that day, I was lucky, more or less. I got a seat next to the window, which left the seat next to me empty. At the next stop, 3 men got on. One of them sat next to me, and the others sat in the seats across from me, so they were facing me. I was listening to music on my iPod, so I couldn't really hear them. I did notice, however, that the guy sitting next to me was trying to move closer to me on the seat. He would move close enough that his leg was touching mine, so I'd scoot away and he'd move closer again. Eventually, I was pressed right against the window, and had no doubt that he had more than a few inches of free space on his other side. I was wearing sunglasses and could surreptitiously glance at them. I'd noticed that they would occasionally say something and then all look at me. It was incredibly creepy and uncomfortable. I was nervous about getting off at my stop, but mine is the second to last on the train line. So when the train pulled into my station, I got off. The guy sitting next to me tried to grab my arm, but I was moving quickly and was able to get out. I was hoping they wouldn't get off the train there. It was a busy station and they couldn't know where I was parked. They did. I guess it was their luck that they targeted me. I park in the furthest lot from the station because the parking there is free. It's about a 7-minute walk, which isn't usually too bad, but my lot tends to be pretty quiet, and I was really worried about those guys following me. As a bit of a background, I was fat. I worked an office job and I was sitting all day and not working out. Add to that my strong sweet tooth and you've got a recipe for bad body. I was about 30 pounds overweight and probably couldn't run more than 30 seconds. Sad considering I ran track and played hockey in high school. I still play hockey, but I'm a women's daytime league, and it's really not competitive. I'm the youngest on my team by about 20 years, but my mom is on the team and it's something fun to do together. I was crossing the bridge over the road from the station to the parking lot when I noticed the 3 guys less than 10 feet behind me. I wasn't carrying a knife though. I do own a legally sized knife, nor any pepper spray because it's illegal in my Canadian city. I know a little bit about personal protection though. I learned it from classes as a girl at the private high school I attended in my youth. So I put my car keys in my house keys between my fingers, so if I needed to hit someone it would hurt them, at least a little. The guys followed me across the main lot. They didn't hide the fact that they were there, and the more nervous I was, the louder they laughed. I managed to get across the road between the lots before they got to the road. They had to wait for a couple of cars to pass before they could cross. I was almost halfway across the lot when they crossed the road. I started to run. I could hear their feet pounding the pavement behind me. I used my clicker to unlock the car when I got close. I wrenched the door open, so glad there was no one parked next to me. I had barely closed my door and slammed the lock when the guys reached my car. They were banging on my window and yelling, jeering. I'd never been so afraid in my life. I was worried they'd break the windows and get in. There was a guy at the back banging on the back of my hatchback so I couldn't reverse out of the spot without running him over. I should have, but I was afraid and not thinking. I was screaming, but no one was around to hear me. I didn't know what they wanted, but I knew it wasn't anything good. I wish I'd had the screamer my mom had given me for protection, but it needed a new battery, so I didn't bring it with me. That thought, the one about the screamer, made me realize I had something even better. When you're being assaulted, you're not supposed to scream for help. No one wants to help. You scream fire, because everyone wants to watch the blaze. So I turned on my car alarm. It was incredibly loud in my car. So loud I thought I would go deaf. But it had the reaction I wanted. The guys started backing off. I saw people walking into the lot looking in the direction of my car. People could see what was going on. The guys took off backwards towards the train station. I drove home crying. The next night, I started working out. I have worked out almost every day since then. If those cars hadn't been in the road at that time, if I'd run just a little slower, if I'd been too slow clicking the lock, it all could have ended so much differently. I've lost 20 pounds since then. I have gained a great deal of muscle. I quit my job. I've had anxiety issues for years, and this encounter made it so much worse. I never want to feel that powerless again. Thank you guys for listening. If you like what you heard, please give a like, comment, and share. The more views we get, the more videos you'll get. Have a good night.